Hello everyone watching at home, welcome to Adelaide Eternal. We are here with the Highlander Challenge for the end of 2018. I'm Sarven McLinton, and in the booth with me is Drew Carter.
Hi everyone.
Now we have a very special match to kick this off. We've got Adelaide Eternal's own Beckett Wolfe on the left there, and on the right we have Good Games' Luke McGlaughlin, and both of their lists are awesome. Before we check their lists out, just a note, these guys are in the Hall of Heroes. Let's have a look at Beckett first. So this is Beckett Wolfe. He's looking pretty angry. He's just won this sheet, I think it is.
Yeah.
So he's obviously, largely composed of French bread.
He's mainly got Highlander trophies, hasn't he?
Well,
mainly?
That would
require the
graphic right there.
Yeah.
That's on your screen.
Yeah. No,
he's explain everything.
He's definitely done well with his junk list, which he's sporting today as well. And
So
Luke, and what about
Luke has a vintage win, and Luke is actually on a really, really spicy list here for Highlander. Let's check it out first.
Yeah, okay. So why do you think it's spicy?
So Mono White is a deck archetype that has been thrown around here and there in the Death and Taxes style, where people will start to play a lot of Thalia and Thalia type variants. But what Luke's gone with here, with his deck called Snow White, is something a little bit different. So we have a large number on the top end of the spectrum rather than the tiny white weenie traditional concept. And this is one of the aspects that allows him to actually power into the mid-game. So it's almost like a mid-range deck.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, would you call it mid-range deck? Because it's got 25 mana sources. It's got more lands than Grixis control. And
True.
And it's got
and there's preordains in Grixis control.
Yeah, I know. So it wants to be just curve out nicely, right up to the fives in Batterskull, Archangel Avacyn. Oh, they're the fives, yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe even, Lyra Dawnbringer and Baneslayer in the sideboard.
And Shalai. So it's actually kind of mono angels, right?
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
So it's
interesting, why mono white? Why not splash another colour?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting question, Highlander. So monocolour decks have consistency advantage. Things like mono red, where you get the ability to just kind of be really, really consistent and go 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, and finish the game. The thing that you're paying there is power. So, if you splash blue for card draw spells, or you splash black, or be primarily black, you get recursive threats. So here, with white, there might be other avenues to, leveraging a mid-range deck, but it's a bit of a slippery slope because once you add a second colour, you add a third colour, and you end up on junk, which is what Beckett's playing.
We'll just say quickly as well, Luke's got the equipment package as well, which is looking to get a lot of value out of Skullclamp, Jet, and Stoneforge and that. Yep, so we'll go up to junk. So you're saying junk's, you're just kind of suggesting that that's an evolved form of Luke's deck, but that's not quite right.
No, so it's kind of like a sliding spectrum of colours. So like the greedier you get, the further down the greed end of the spectrum you become, and the more power level you get for, the more bang for your buck. The more susceptible you become to things like, well, let's Rishadan port that dual land on your upkeep. Turns out you can't actually make any effective plays that particular turn, and the deck that's more consistent will end up getting the edge.
Yeah, so you're less vulnerable to colour screw. Well, you're more vulnerable to colour screw, and also just interaction with your mana base.
Yeah, exactly.
Which includes a lot of elves in Beckett's case.
Yeah, so Beckett gets to kind of power out his 3 drops on turn 2, which is the concept behind junk. Junk is a fundamentally fair deck. It's not even running blue. And the goal here is to go Mana Dork on turn 1. The games where you don't have a Mana Dork on turn 1, you feel like this really dirtily deck and you just don't really, you spin your wheels a bit. But when you get a Mana Dork on turn 1, you feel like your turn 2 play of, Courser of Crewfix or Blade Splicer, and then your turn 3 play of Siege Rhino, you just feel like, the world's your oyster. You're just so far ahead of your opponent, especially on the play.
It's hard for any deck to just curve out as powerfully.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Beckett goes all the way up to Titania and Batterskull as well, so he's got the 5 drops at the top as well. So it's a bit of a mirror match, just the difference in saying between consistency and power, you think?
Yeah, and so it's going to be interesting to see how it actually plays out. Obviously, they're actually both running the equipment package. And where that goes, oftentimes when you're, this is kind of like harking back to, the 2013, 2014 era where equipment was everywhere. The games where you happen to draw your Stoneforge Mystic or your Skullclamp or whatever equipment it was, if you're allowed to go off, you have an insane game. You just get so far ahead of your opponent. But this is 2018, so this is this is going to be a very, very different environment. There's no Colligan's commands or anything running around here, but it'll be interesting to see exactly how people leverage things like Caracas and other.
Which they're both running, is that right? Yeah, they are. They're both running Caracas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Which is probably a recent addition for Beckett with the depointing of Skull Clamp. I'd be interested to see on Luke's side if the mono white cards like Brightling and Archangel of Ties and even Unexpectedly Absent, how much they can bring to the table as well.
Yeah, lots of new printings.
Reward the consistency.
Yeah, lots of new printings and also lots of new depointings because both of them, or at least Beckett, both of them get to run off the free Steel Shaper's Gift and the cheaper Skull Clamp.
All right, let's get down to the match. Just roll the dice.
So that's a 9 for Beckett and a 7 for Luke. So Beckett's on the play. So knowing that Beckett it could possibly lead off with Minor Dork on turn 1, I would say that Beckett is favoured.
And he's got one there.
And there it is.
Premium one in Noble Hierarch, which does damage while it gives you mana.
No, he also has Mental Misstep as well, which is really, really brutal in these matchups where you get to stop the other person's turn 1 or their removal spell.
Yeah, I think Luke had a bit of a slower hand, like with Phyrexian Revoker into some higher threats, so we might not get the huge value out of Mental Misstep here.
Is Luke a lot less susceptible to Mental Misstep? Just looking at his list.
Yeah. There's a few 1-drops, but not. There's Skull Clamp and some Soldier of the Pantheon's Mother of Runes, Judge's Familiar, Path of Exile, Steel Shaper's Gift, but not
a large number. So he's actually gone turn 1 Mox Pearl into Phyrexian Revoker. Now, Revoker cannot name mana abilities, so it can't name Noble Hierarch, so it'll be interesting to see what that actually named.
Birthing Pod, maybe, or equipment?
And a piece of equipment that's not, in the mirror, not in your own deck, is
that's right.
Nice in the blind. So this is Selfless Spirit and
there's the one drop.
Dryad
Militant.
Yeah. So Dryad Militant getting the misstep.
So Luke's assembling a good board presence here with some 2-1s. Although, the Voice of Resurgence is going to give Beckett a bit of value when trading or what have you.
Basically, when you've got Voice and you're the slow deck that has a higher power in the late game, you just snap off a block there, right? You just go, I'm going to block, and I'm going to...
Oh, that's a nice Strangleroot Geist as well, getting in there for damage.
He's going in for damage.
And further value. So, from your analysis, I think Beckett should be favoured, not just because he's on the play and he did get the mana off, but he's got the greedier colours, so he should have that power advantage.
Sure, absolutely. The thing is, going on the offensive here has a couple of downsides. First of all, just attacking solely with the Strangleroot Geist to get in for 3 with Exalted is much of a muchness with the amount of damage it deals, and allowing you to trade the 2-2 with another 2-2 and get another token that becomes a 3-3 is a powerful play. So opting to forego that means that it's possible that he's got a spell in hand that is going to mitigate the board, something like Abrupt Decay, just to kill a creature and then
Path of Exile, Swords.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of invited the race here, which Luke probably wants.
Yeah, exactly. So that it kind of telegraphs some kind of removal spell. So Beckett takes it, which is wise because sometimes you want to use your removal spell on whatever 4-drop they play after. And Luke here having the Mox means that he's actually kind of roughly on parity in terms of mana. He's not behind on mana. And this is Linvala, Keeper of Silence.
So that stops activated abilities of Beckett's creatures. Is that right?
So Noble Hierarch can't even tap for mana because it's an activated ability, even though it is a mana ability.
Oh, nice.
I think Linvala also shuts off mana dorks. I don't think it says non-mana.
It's just creatures. It's not.
Just creatures. Yeah. It was really, really popular, and we're harking back to 2014 again, that era where you turn off the twin cards. Okay. So another Exalted is really nice. Strangleroot Geist or the 2-2 get in there for quite a bit of damage, 4 damage.
But Beckett can't use the disenchant ability if he wanted to because of the Linvala.
Correct. Yeah, Linvala's shutting that off.
So Luke's assembling quite a bit of an air force as well. There's 5 in the air now.
Yeah, and I think this is Let's Do It Together. I believe this high five reference you just made.
High five in the air, let's do it together. High five!
So anyone with kids at home.
The band high five. Okay, yeah.
So the Air Force that you're talking about there is really relevant here, where Snow White being called this kind of mono angels type of deck, tribal angels. This top end is really really good.
And having the flying is going to probably deny Beckett the value from the ground blockers.
This is really, really big. So this is Avacyn. Now, this Avacyn is 5 mana. It comes into play because it's got flash and it comes into play and blocks that 2/2.
Yeah. Well, what does it give indestructible to? Just non-angels? Or just angels?
I think it's all your other creatures or something. I don't know. Something like that.
Okay.
We'll get our tech team on it. and this was because it was a spell being played in Beckett's turn, it created a token for the Voice of Resurgence.
And Beckett's tried to Assassin's Trophy it, and then the indestructibility of Spirit something has just come into play to protect the angel flashing in.
Yeah, that's
then they're just looking, do I get the land, even if it's not destroyed?
Yeah, I believe it's the rest of the ability is counted, right?
Yeah.
So that was in order to ambush the 2/2. So what happened there is because it was cast on Beckett's turn, it allows Beckett to basically make 2 elemental tokens. One because it was blocked and killed, and the other because it was on his turn. Now, Archangel Avacyn has an enters the battlefield trigger where creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. And then something or other non-angel creature, something flip it.
Okay, when a non-angel creature dies, you flip it. So it's been flipped now in the main phase.
Because something died, he got to flip the thing into Avacyn the Purifier or something like that.
Which does like 3 damage, and it's a 6/5 flyer. It's very powerful.
Yeah, 6/5 flyer, nice. Yeah, so the 3 damage wiped Beckett's board. So that was a really interesting interaction because, at first when you're thinking, oh, you're flashing this in on Beckett's turn, you're giving him a token.
Yeah.
The whole plan there was in order to actually make it flip and wrath the rest of the board.
And Luke's had 9 damage in the air just on the crackback there to win.
It's huge, yeah. So that was a really, really fast game 1. And as you can see, the Angels just came out of nowhere, right? So we're talking about power level. This is one where Luke has the advantage, in those early to mid turns, and Beckett has the advantage in the late mid to late turns. And that was, wrapped up real quick.
So I think, when he cast the Angel, all his dudes got indestructible, but Beckett cast Assassin's Trophy in response to the trigger.
Yeah.
And then the Selfless Spirit protected the Angel.
Yeah, and so because the Selfless Spirit could sacrifice at any time, it meant that Luke had ultimate control over flipping his Avacyn.
So I think a lot of Luke's high land count helped there because he was able to not miss a land drop and just power into those big threats.
And we could also see the power of Mox Pearl because the Mox Pearl powered out a 2-drop on turn 1, a 2-drop and a 3-drop on turn 2. And then on turn
1 drop.
a 2-drop and a 1-drop on turn 2, and then on turn 3 powering out a 4-drop, turn 4 powering out a 5-drop. So, when we look at Moxon at 3 points, this is what you're paying for. You pay your 3 points, and you get the opportunity to
You're saying it's time lock.
Yeah, essentially that's what it was.
Yeah.
You're just getting so far ahead of your opponent. It's like would you play a mana dork that tapped for the mana that you're concerned about for free? Yeah, sure. Sign me up. Now we're going to sideboards, and obviously post-board, there's depending on how you built the deck, you often find that in mid-range matchups, you don't actually bring that much in. A lot of the time people, over sideboard, they bring in all these answers, and they realise that they were better in game 1 because they actually had a game plan. So we should expect to only see a very small number of cards, something like 4 cards at most.
Yeah, it looks like Beckett's only looking at a handful, but Luke's looking at a lot more. So what's in Luke's sideboard that you might bring in?
Luke's got a couple of paths he can go down. First of all, he can go down the Armageddon Ravages of War plan, and this is not very good against the Mana Dork decks, but sometimes especially on the draw, if you're on the play, and you have one of these Moxon games, that's one way that you could go down, but it's largely against control. So what I would hazard a guess he's bringing in is Shalai, Baneslayer Angel, Lyra Dawnbringer, Gisela the Broken Blade.
Big angels.
Yeah, and it's possible that he might bring in Moat as well, depending on how much flying he expects Beckett to have. In the junk decks, you find that junk was really... I was playing... junk's I have a soft spot for it because it was my first ever Highlander deck that I played for about 2 or 3 years. And I found that the majority of the time that I was losing to flyers. When you get to the late game, you're like, look, I'm grinding, I'm so far ahead, I've got everything. And then someone plays a flyer and you go, well, the only flyers on my deck are Restoration Angel.
Beckett's taking out Thalia 3, Voice of Resurgence, and bringing in
Zealous Persecution. So Zealous Persecution is really, really nice and also Pontiff.
Yeah.
Really, really nice in this kind of matchup because he's expecting that there's going to be a lot of 1 toughness on Luke's side. Now, that might not actually be the case because the way that Luke sideboards, he might end up just having a higher top end.
But it's just a brilliant combat trick, really. Like
For
the
sure.
Zealous, yeah. Just,
sure.
It's just totally swinger the board.
Yeah, if you could play 2 Zealous Persecution, you would. And the thing is, the Pontiff does the same kind of thing, but also it gets potted. And that's just powerful. So, just looking at the...
I don't think Moat would be especially powerful against Beckett because he's got a lot of main deck disenchant effects and also the abrupt, Assassin's Stroke and things like that. He's got answers to it.
Absolutely. And here's a chat about sideboard.
So they're the changes that Luke's
So
making.
they're looking away from the...
Beckett must be
all the
politely looking away.
angels, the moat, settle the wreckage, and land tax. Very nice. So land tax allows you to just kind of play the long game, especially when you're in the draw. So jamming that out on an early turn, you just go, haha. Time to get some...
Looks like
land
Luke's doing like a Babe Ruth and just pointing to where he's going to hit the home run because he's showing Beckett his whole sideboard plan there, I think.
Nice.
He doesn't need to have anything up his sleeve. He can win it straight up.
So
what's Beckett going to do with his sideboard?
so he just
the
two
the Zealous Persecution.
Now, if you look at Luke's deck, he actually doesn't have that many 1 toughness creatures. So a lot of his creatures, aside from a couple of 1-drops, there's really a handful of 1-drops. A lot of his creatures have 2 or more toughness. So the Zealous Persecutions are going to be a combat trick.
Yeah.
Just try and win that combat and end up getting into a favourable position.
Convert trades into removal.
Back when we were playing the junk mirrors in the good old days of Highlander, when the format was literally just junk and twin, dark band, Zealous Persecution was just backbreaking. You'd kill 3 of their mana dorks whilst also just winning combat at the same time.
What's the control mirror equivalent of like a Zealous Persecution? Is there one? How to win a counter war, I suppose, like a Flusterstorm or
Flusterstorm's
something.
probably the equivalent.
Yeah.
Pyroblasts are great, but Flusterstorm's probably the equivalent of, let's win this battle, let's win this exchange.
I can see Aiden Mind Sensor for Luke.
Is this another misstep hand? And he's always got the misstep on the far left.
Batter Skull as well. And a few lands, so that's key.
Yeah.
It looks like Luke's mulliganing. I saw Aiden Mind Sensor, but nothing else.
Yeah, so...
I know Luke likes to mulligan aggressively.
I think that's very important here. So you got to be disciplined. He's being disciplined here, making sure that he's got a good hand. You don't want to keep a marginal hand, and then Beckett starts off with Mana Dork turn 1, misstep your turn 1 play, go to my turn, play 3 drop.
There's a sort of fire and ice, I think.
Yes.
Does the fact that you're 1 game up change the mulliganing aggression or not?
No, I don't think you base it on whether you're up games, but you do base it on play draw for sure. So
just lands.
This is interesting. So this is a slower game. Neither of the players have a turn 1 play, which means their hand's probably full of gas for the.
So Becker must have drawn the elf.
The top deck, the shame elf. We play on turn 2.
Same 2-drop for the second game for Luke. Correct me, Becker. I wonder what he does name.
Yeah, so he can actually name Arbor Elf here because Arbor Elf's ability is not a mana ability. So
yes.
it involves untapping a land.
That's great on Luke's part. Yeah,
sure.
Really powerful answer.
And this is just end of turn, fetch a tap land, save a bit of life in the long run.
Although we can't really attack into the elf either because then they just trade.
They're basically just kind of nullified each other. Those 2 cards are just going to be slided off to the side there, not doing anything.
Unless they could find some handy equipment. That wasn't a pod.
It looked like a 2-drop like Kazali Pride Mage or something, but maybe I missed what it
Or he's attacking for them.
Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze and tap land in the form of Treetop Village. Scavenging Ooze is very good in this kind of a matchup, but when both players have a lot of Swords to Plowshares effects, Scavenging Ooze often gets activated a couple of times, gets real swole, then dies.
Yeah, and Luke would look to trade early with it because it's better in the mid to late game, isn't it, where it can get big.
Yeah, for sure.
And the life gain is very relevant as well in these kind of mirror matches.
Definitely. And so just jamming in here, that was unexpected.
Yeah.
So what that means is Beckett has like a really big 5-drop or something, or that he just
He's had the Battle Skull.
Here it is.
Yeah.
So
he wanted to get rid of the mana disruption.
For sure. Yep, I can see that.
So he'd be fairly happy with that. It's equipment facing down equipment, but so Luke's got to rip a creature to kind of get back in it here.
Yeah, Luke's got a lot of tricks and ways to kind of play around the Batterskull and Batterskull's token. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So Linvala again. Linvala as a 3/4, not excellent against a Batterskull, but it is excellent when it's got a Sophie equipped to it next turn.
Yeah, and it's shutting down the Arbor Elf again.
Yeah, this is just mono hate on Arbor Elf.
Yeah.
This Arbor Elf's like, I want to come in and do my job.
He did
I'm
one-
here, sir, reporting for duty, ready to untap some for. Oh no, I'm done. Done for.
He did
You're
it
on the
once.
bench, Arbor Elf.
He was a good Lotus Petal. Yeah.
Oh, you did. I don't think you even got to activate one.
No, you got the Batterskull out.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, you got one activation this
So you can
turn.
go home now, Arbor Elf. You've done your work.
You're drunk.
So Beckett's going to get in here. He's thinking with the
Aggressive.
Treetop Village as well.
So activating the Treetop Village and attacking into the 3/4 kind of telegraphs you got Zealous Persecution or something, because the 3/4 will just eat that Treetop Village for breakfast.
He's just going in for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I wonder what else Beckett's got. He definitely
So it
wanted to
looks like
disrupt this equip.
another Elvish Mystic.
What's he do? Is that just Llanowar Elf?
It's just Llanowar Elves with
Yeah.
just a strictly incorrect name and art.
Okay.
Uh,
Luke's turn again.
So
Caracas.
Caracas, oh, yeah. So this is good because Caracas has interesting interactions with legends on your own side as well.
But it doesn't hit the Batterskull Germ.
It doesn't hit the Batterskull Germ,
No.
but it is really nice that, your opponent has a jitter, you attack, you block with your legend, you bounce your own legend, just prevent it from getting any counters. Stoneforge Mystic, very nice. Now, there's still 3 mana up, ready to equip something, or to just jam the equipment itself. So here's jitter,
You'd want to equip the Sword of Fire and Ice, get some value out of it, wouldn't you?
for sure,
Yeah.
and then keep the Caracas open. The other option is that there's a Mox Pearl in hand. That would be amazing. Just imagine that, getting to connect with the jitter and kill both mana dorks. Actually, sorry, they're not even mana dorks. Linvala's around.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
They're just swan ones.
Yeah.
So this is one
Mons Goblin
Swallow
Raiders.
Linvala.
So what is she now? She's 5/6? Yeah.
Yep, 5/6.
5/6 pro red, pro blue. That's not going to come into play here. But the triggers definitely will if it ever connects.
Yeah, it was a diligent no attack because you'd be so tempted to attack there and trigger with the Sophie and then draw a card and everything. But in reality, Luke is presenting a blocker for this
Which
germ
is-
token.
Because the life gain race is better for Beckett. He's saying,
Yeah.
So Luke's elected to not draw a card in order to deny Beckett for life.
Yeah, to deny the race. It's really hard to turn down the greed of attacking and drawing a card.
But when you're tapped out, it's a little easier. You
Yeah.
can't cast what you're going to draw straight away.
Well, this is really nice. So he assigned the block, and here's also Pontiff. So he assigned the block in order to kill the Batterskull token. But what Beckett was doing was kind of going, "Hey, look, I've got Kazali Pride Mage ready to kill your equipment, ready for Linvala to die. But then there's a Caracas to return the Linvala." So it was a nice little.
Okay, so
interaction
Beckett's
there.
trying to kill the Linvala between the Exalted and the also Pontiff trigger. Is that right?
Yeah. So
That
the
ends up- that's-
5 damage is on the Linvala. And Linvala has 6 toughness.
Oh, yeah.
So the Orzhov Pontiff is ready to wrath the board on one side, but Caracas is there. So this was a really, really great showing of how good Caracas is. So that particular play essentially exhausted Beckett's Orzhov Pontiff and the Germ token solely for the cost of not drawing a card off Sword of Fire and Ice. And I think that was well worth it.
Yeah, but Beckett won a bit of tempo because Luke's had to just replay his Angel, and
True.
it's no longer equipped.
And he has to manually equip a Batterskull though, so it's
True,
kind of
true.
both ways. It's going both ways. Equipping Batterskull to one of these useless 1/1s, 1/1 dorks.
At least you're getting value out of the 1/1 then. You're
Yeah.
making it more reliable.
So this is a use of the Llanowar Elf creature to sacrifice Kazali Pride Mage and destroy one of the equipment. And Jitte is obviously the more powerful in a creature mirror equipment because Sword of Fire and Ice, you can block the creature, especially when you're not blue or red.
Yeah, so that was obviously before the Linvala came back down.
Yeah,
Beckett was
so-
able to use the creature abilities. So we're looking at an equip.
Yeah, so equipping the Orzhov Pontiff is really cool here because it's 5/5, but it does have Haunt. So when it dies,
Oh, Caracas Mirror.
there it is. This is interesting when there's a legend on only one side, but
what's
this
coming
is an
in?
activation of Stoneforge Mystic to draw Batterskull into play before blocks. Whoa.
But Beckett's is slightly bigger.
Oh, Beckett, well, it puts in the germ token, not the Adelaide Eternal represent branding token.
Well, the colours are relevant if we have a snuff out or something. Yeah.
So The Batterskull on one side is a 5/5, the other side is a 4/4, but teaming up together with Linvala is able to block and kill the Pontiff. But that's not where you want to be, because then you end up losing your Linvala. So this is probably going to be a take 5. Yep,
And
5 damage.
so Beckett's got an opening to use Caracas here. Will he do it?
I think you do, just as an opportunity to go, it's like you're not allowed to have that. You have to replay it, recast it again. But it also denies a flying attacker with equipment on it. So when you pile them on, this is why Luke is putting them over onto the gem token.
Is it always better in these kind of situations to just go high rather than wide? Like put all your equipment on the one thing?
It's really situational. In this instance, when the opponent has one card in hand, sometimes you just have to can't play around Source of Plowshares, or you have to play around it. But here it's an all block. So this is 7 power worth on Beckett's side against the Germ token, which is a 6 power, 6 toughness creature. So this will deny the Sword of Fire and Ice trigger, and it will allow Luke to kill both. So the way he's ordering blockers is kill both Mana Dorks, but don't kill the Orzhov Pontiff. This way the Pontiff won't be able to haunt.
And if you look at the life totals there, Beckett's really getting up high, like 36 to 10. But the board's quite even.
It is. It really is. You've got these kind of Batterskull / empty Batterskull / 3/4. It's all largely comparable. The only thing is, I believe that Luke has the advantage in the fact that he has 2 pieces of equipment, whereas Beckett only has 1.
And Luke has 2 creatures as well.
Yeah. That Stoneforge Mystic is going to come in really, really handy just as a bearer, an equipment bearer, because the Linvala is going to have trouble sticking around.
Here's the Treetop Village coming back into play.
The village people are going to get in for 3, and the Orzhov Pontiff getting in for 5.
Luke's bouncing the Batterskull back to his hand.
So this is an onboard trick. The ability to bounce Batterskull is a very legacy play. Bounce Batterskull, replay it with the Stoneforge at instant speed. But
nice.
Heads up play from Beckett, able to kill the Stoneforge Mystic before the Batterskull is in hand, and denying the ability for the Batterskull to come down at instant speed and block the Treetop Village.
So it's a great tempo play from Beckett. It's going to cost a whole another 5 mana to get the Batterskull back into play.
Absolutely. And you can see where the tempo lies when both decks are kind of mid-range value decks now. Beckett is on 1 card, but he has all the life and Luke has none of the life, and Luke has lots of cards in hand. So basically Beckett is playing the tempo role, and that's why he's just crashing in there, trying to crash in with as much
But
damage as possible.
Luke's almost got as much life as he started with.
Yeah, it's
Really?
funny, isn't
I
it?
mean,
In the Batterskull mirrors, this kind
Yeah.
of happens. So I believe the Batterskull is in hand because it was returned to hand because 3 was paid. It just may have not gone to hand. So
They might remember that in a minute.
yeah. So Luke has a lot of mana here.
There you go.
So this is in hand. So Luke has access to 7 mana, and this is a replay of Batterskull and an equip. So it is a 6/6. The 6/6 that if it hits you, it's really, really, really strong.
And 6/6 is bigger than 5/5.
Yeah,
So Luke's looking good.
Absolutely. And so there's still Linvala, Keeper of Silence in hand. Now, the tapping of Caracas, what does that mean? Does that mean I have a Source of Plowshares in hand and I don't want to get blown out by drawing the Wasteland, hitting my Caracas, so I keep my basic planes open? Because imagine Titania or something.
Yeah, I think the Caracas should be untapped there in case Beckett plays a legend.
It's interesting, the Caracas mirror.
Or maybe he's worried about Wasteland. Yeah, is that what you were saying? Yeah, sorry.
So playing around Wasteland, going I definitely have my 1 mana open, ready to Source of Plowshare something critical.
Yeah. The Haunt is not doing much here, is it? Really?
No, now that the board is kind of like 1 tall creature on each side, the Haunt doesn't do much. But Beckett looks to war. So
attack into the bigger creature, abrupt decay the sword.
this is nice.
To shrink it.
Getting in for 5. Now the Germ token is only a 4/4. It dies to the Pontiff. This priest, this cleric has just been doing work. He just comes in there, kills a bunch of guys, and goes, okay, I'll jump into this vehicle and just ride it to victory. He's one big boy. So
is Batterskull a vehicle? I mean,
it looks technically
it's not a
is a
vehicle.
vehicle, right?
Right.
Like, look at it. It's this weird car with skulls.
it's like a battering ram or something.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a guy that's like, oh no, in the front that's being bopped off a cliff. So this thing gets returned, it gets replayed again, making a new germ token. So killing, powering through germ tokens is hard because they just keep coming back, right? And the fact that you keep gaining life on both sides means that Beckett's tempo plan is going to run out eventually.
But it's just that one power and toughness difference that the Orsa Pontiff's providing is giving Beckett the edge here.
Exactly.
Continually gets in.
And this is a point at which Luke has to take 5 because he needs a creature on the board, right, at this point. Just chumping it is not going to get you anywhere.
What's he going to? He's got Swords to Pashas in hand, Luke.
So we did read that on the open plains.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't see it in hand, I just guessed.
I saw it, yeah. It's got the bird feathery art.
Oh, yeah, the Ice Age one.
Yeah.
The first Black Border one after the Alpha Beta.
I think he's got an Elspeth as well, maybe? Elspeth 4?
Oh, yeah. Elspeth is like a nice card, but it's lost a lot of its value in recent times. Like, it used to be, it was everywhere. It was the place to be.
Yeah, I was scared of it.
2014, right? Like, I feel like 2013, 2014 is a new version of Highlander that gets played kind of like old school, where it's just going to these 2 years and you have to play Twin or Junk or Dark Band. And
or Zoo, maybe?
Or Zoo.
Yeah. Who's this? Gisela the Broken Blade, is it?
Yeah. So
4/3 lifelink first strike?
It's just like, it's like it's the half of Brazella and it's like a mini Baneslayer from memory.
Oh, so I misread the Elspeth. Yeah, so Luke's got 2 cards, Swords and Gisela,
right.
Which being a legend just got sent back to Luke's hand from Caracas.
Well, here's a way to change from the tempo roll into the control roll, Skull Clamp.
Yeah.
So Beckett drawing Skull Clamp here and being able to clamp away a Dryad Arbor is going to allow him to, just really find answers. Every time when one card becomes 2 cards, sure, even if you start drawing, half as much gas as your opponent, is still drawing more gas on average, like this. I'll just draw, how many times are you happy to top deck a Birds of Paradise? Almost never, unless you got a clamp, because it's basically 2 more cards.
Yeah, it feels like Beckett's just like a half turn ahead or a turn ahead kind of the whole game. Just let's see what he drew here.
So this was...
He'll want to keep the Caracas open for the Gisela.
And he's on 4 cards off that clamp so far, killing 2 little 1/1, 0/1 and a 1/1.
And although the life totals are like a bit ridiculous, I know Luke's very much still in this game with some premium kind of creatures and Battle Skull of his own.
Yeah, that's right. So that was a Caracas bounce, the Linvala.
Is that a legend? Must be.
Yeah, Linvala's still a legend.
Okay.
It's basically been bounced, almost every turn or every other turn since the beginning of the game.
Yeah, you're right. Still a legend.
Yeah. And this is why Caracas is a point, because you should have to pay for this kind of awesome effect. It just does so much work. Especially in the way Highlander is now, where you've got things like Tassiger and other...
The Legends Caracas is one of my favourite cards. It's so beautiful. Jen's got a quote from Elizabeth Browning or something. It's about the honeybee. Yeah. There's great art. It's the one card I'll never get rid of.
Sweet.
So here we go. So
there's the swords.
7...
the misstep from the beginning of the game.
From turn 1. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's brutal. That was so... Luke was so ready just to snap that off finally on that creature, but... Now he has to chump block, and it feels... Oh, actually, it's not a chump block because the toughness is 1 less.
Because of the Skull Clamp.
So Beckett gets to draw 2 cards, finally trade off the board. There's no creatures on the board. However, he gets to activate Treetop Village, even though it's getting itself tapped, and haunt it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So if you wasteland the Treetop Village, the haunt triggers?
It says when this creature would die. If it's not a creature currently... Is it still...
I think it still counts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that how it is?
Yeah, I think it still matters.
So if a creature dies in the woods, does it still...
Oh, but then it gets...
Does the haunt still... minus, I don't know.
It's not an enchant creature. It should stay. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure exactly what would happen. But here come the 2 legends again. So that's a little bit of an earthquake I think we just experienced there.
Some excitement slamming down the 2 angels, trying to get in there. Yeah. I haven't seen the Arganjo Castle do any work this game, and I'm hoping it does. Oh, there's Night of Autumn, so that's a 4/3, or no, destroy the Battle Skull. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so is the Arganjo Castle not actually a castle? It's actually a ruins, flagstones of Traquair.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's all right.
Also hasn't done any work, but but point taken.
It's good with your own Armageddon if that's the way.
Oh,
you go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Get yourself an extra land. Here's a Wasteland, though. Wasteland finally to break the Caracas Mirror. No, it's to power out the Siege Rider.
So yeah, I think that Wasteland will be getting the Caracas next
That's
turn,
right.
maybe.
And Siege Rhino is there, ready to increase Beckett's life total
Beckett needs
from
just
a
a little
very
buffer.
dangerous 54 up to a much safer 57. And here comes not a legend. This is Angel of Jubilation, I think. I think all
not
your other
Tides.
kind of white, maybe? I'm not sure. Is it the one that basically gives, or maybe it's Tides. I don't know.
Tides.
Angel
All
of something. So Angel of something comes out, and back comes one of the bounced legends.
So that
Legend
means
got
Beckett
bounced.
needs to pay some mana if he wants to attack. And yeah. But he's got enough of it to do that.
Yeah, surely.
So he'll just be looking to go high again, like Equip Battle Skull, Equip Skull Clamp, Smash in, I would say.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the Wasteland is being tapped in order to equip the Batterskull, because the Wasteland being untapped against Caracas, just to be like one-sided Caracas, you can't have any tricks. What it might telegraph, though, is the, an Abrupt Decay type effect. Abrupt Decay has been used, Assassin's Trophy has been used, I think, as well, unless that was a previous game.
But
Here's the back-
Beckett's pretty happy if Luke's kind of returning his own cards to hand.
Surely.
Yeah.
And he has no legends on his side, so it's all good. So we have a Siege Rhino here, which is an 8/9, is it? So the 8/9 here, ready to block.
It's just like, when are you sending it back to my hand?
Yeah.
Like after I block, or
Yeah, now we block, and now we make a decision. Do you bounce it?
why don't you just
Yeah.
let it die? Oh, what's that?
That's a source. That's a Path to Exile.
Oh, nice.
So, Path to Exile, dropping the Earthquake up in here. Here it is. Still.
So Luke's still fighting. And he's got an Air Force again. He could get in for... Well, he's on 57, so... how do you
get in for 3?
How do you strategically... So you have to just neutralise Beckett and then just like attack.
Yeah.
So
I think
how
one
do
of
you
the
win?
things to neutralise is the Skull Clamp. So this is interesting. The Knight got Skull Clamped, and this means that Beckett actually has no creatures on board except for the Treetop Village.
So here's a bit of damage, potentially, from Luke.
So yeah, it might be finally the opportunity for Luke to turn the corner at 9 versus 57 with 3 angels in play, ready to get some damage in. And this is...
Pantheon.
Yeah, Soldier of the Pantheon's nice. So this will be protection from like Abrupt Decay effects, essentially.
We can attack in past Siege Rhino or things like that, or Kitchen Finks or whatever.
Very true. So
So Luke's got an army. He just needs to start swinging in with it.
yeah,
But I think Beckett's still pretty comfortable, knowing he can bounce the Power Skull back and replay it and continually get value out of his Skull Clamp and so on.
Yeah.
Although he'd have to be thinking he's got to dismantle this defense force as well and get in for the last 9 points of damage.
yeah, at some point it's going to have to happen. That's why sometimes Skull Clamp is a trap.
And you got to think about time as well, because Luke won the first game, so Luke could be thinking if he just continues to fight, he could just win 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you just got to grind, right? Skull Clamp can sometimes be a trap when you end up clamping away all your critters to just draw more cards, which by theory should always draw you more critters anyway.
But there's a big one.
Sometimes you need the tempo just to finish a game. So here's Titania. Now, Titania is great when you've got a Wasteland active or ready to go.
Is there an effect on board where you can't pay life? Is one of the angels there do that?
Yeah, so Angel of Jubilation is the angel that's on the battlefield here. So the other creatures are getting +1/+1, your other creatures, and players can't pay life or sacrifice creatures to cast spells or activate abilities.
Yeah, so Beckett can't use fetch land here.
That's pretty painful, isn't it?
Yeah, with Titania, that's big. There you go. Well,
there it is.
Luke's got in.
Caught that. Beckett was going to be pretty excitedly putting 3 more. Is it 3 fetch lands there?
Oh, there's
Verdant
Wasteland
Catacombs,
as well.
Bloodstone
You can use
Mire,
Wasteland.
Fluid Delta. That's Wasteland is the only one. So you Wasteland your own fetch probably here. So there's probably
Yeah, or you might want to get rid of the Caracas. But yeah, I know what you mean to get the 5/3s. You just want to go wide at this point and get damage in. But
yeah,
how
sure.
slow do you roll it? Like, do you play in terms of strategically? You don't want to rush into a defeat. I think Play it slow. You can't even equip Titania. You may not have the mana.
Yeah, it's funny because 3 of those lands that look like land on the battlefield just aren't land. They're just nothing.
Yeah, so he's got Caracas and 2 land.
Yeah, so it's not enough to...
Oh, 3, sorry.
Yeah, not enough to equip a Batterskull. That's definitely rough. But you get to equip a Skull Clamp just to make your Titania a 6/2 that if it dies, you draw cards. But against Caracas, it's pretty hard.
So now Beckett must be thinking how to get rid of that Angel of Jubilation to get max value out of the Titania.
Sometimes you just go, I'm just going to ignore that. I'm going to wasteland my own fetch land. I'm just going to make 2 5/3s, ready to go. So this is a Caracas bounce on the...
All right, so in response... Is the Jubilation not a legend? No.
Angel of Jubilation is not a legend.
No, so you can't get rid of that.
Yep, so this is a wasteland.
In response to casting the legend again, I presume.
Yeah, so the wasteland... So it was a wasteland on Luke's Caracas, just to be able to keep a Titania, because it's going to get bounced now, but it will get replayed next turn and kind of permanently stick around.
Yeah.
So, you're investing time, even though you'd rather have another 5/3 by wastelanding your own land, but getting rid of the Caracas in the long game is still the correct decision.
Even though you do get value out of continually casting your Titania, it's not really great value if you can't sack the lands and get the 5/3s.
That's true. And having Titania out and being able to attack with a Treetop Village is nice, but the problem is there's just not enough mana because, again, 3 of those lands on the bottom there are not real lands.
So there's a good example where Luke's getting value out of his white, mono white, because the Angel of Jubulation's white, isn't it?
Yeah, trip white.
Yeah.
So being able to play these cards that you wouldn't otherwise be able to play if you were 2 to 3 colours is real. So this is an interesting decision. So Beckett's deciding whether or not to play Titania or to equip. And the correct decision will probably be to play Titania.
Yeah, because he's got lots of time. He can just take an Alpha Strike and it wouldn't even
suck
really
up
hurt
10 odd damage and just go. Yeah. So I like this. I like this a lot better. Just getting in for 5, forcing a block because, Luke can't really go down to 4 here. So this little soldier was a 3/2, which was enough to trade with that token.
That's great.
Which is why I like equipping a Skull Clamp to it at the beginning. So
before the attack.
Before the attack.
Yeah.
Because then, getting 2 cards is very, really relevant here.
Although then you couldn't do this.
True, yeah. Kitchen Finks is to some degree of value, and applying pressure is important here, so sometimes drawing 2 cards is a trap when you should just be deploying creatures and actually trying to finish the game.
Yeah, I'm sure Beckett can smell blood and water. He just wants to get that last 9 points in. At some point you'd start to unravel psychologically, get it through frustration. I'm 52. Why can't I just win this? You start to kind of feel it unraveling. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here.
So Beckett's very strong-minded. He's going to get there, I'm sure.
I don't know. I think Luke's clawing back. This is really, really tight, and the flying army is relevant because, like I said before, Junk's weakness is no flyers.
Oh, what a great card!
There we go, Liliana of the Veil.
The best Liliana, would you say, son?
So I feel like I'm being baited into a trap.
Liliana, it's a good card, and Beckett thinks it's very good in this deck. Sarv argues that the other Lily would be better, but.
There's no issue with running both of them, but what is incorrect is the fact that Beckett is not running Liliana the last one.
Well, that's a big angel too.
This is a flash one as well.
Turn, yeah.
Flashing in and being able to flash in on attacks or flash in when the sacks happen. So creatures he controls will be indestructible, but his flash is in response to the sack a creature. So he might want to sacrifice that creature.
Yeah, so he can flip the guy. Oh, no, he won't be in play yet.
Yeah, he needs to sack a different thing. Angel of Jubilation has text, though. So here's an Assassin's Trophy on Angel of Jubilation. So players can't pay life or sacrifice creatures.
So now he can sacrifice a creature.
So now that the Angel of Jubilation is gone, he has to sacrifice a creature with the sacrifice trigger on the stat.
So there's an excellent example of the amazing power of Assassin's Trophy. That's just completely changed the game. Now Beckett's opened up his Titania to get the 5/3s.
Can you imagine, though, if Beckett was going to get punished here if he didn't hold priority? Because you go Liliana minus, and Luke just goes, sure, my priority, I do nothing.
Mm.
And then I don't sacrifice anything, right? So, like, got punished, right, by putting something on the stack and then allowing Beckett to have an Assassin's Trophy up.
Mm. And I think that's...
You can't sacrifice creatures to cast things or to activate things.
Okay, so the Lily one's still going to work. Yeah.
Yeah, so that play did work. It wasn't as busted as we thought it actually was.
So now the board state's looking at reflecting the life totals a bit more with more stuff on Beckett's side.
Yeah, that's right.
He's turned the corner a bit.
I do like that Luke's life total has not changed in about how many turns?
Yeah, 5 or more. So Beckett's he's equipping the kitchen things with Skull Clan.
So it's a pretty swole army here, though, right? Like that
2/5/3
elemental token is
Mother
quite
Runes
large.
is nice insurance as well.
Yeah, the 5/3 token, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4/4 token. Mother of Runes, once it gets to untap, giving protection from white is pretty huge. But here's a Skull Clamp. So Skull Clamp is really hard to leverage when you don't have any 1 toughness creatures, but it is really good on blocks.
Mm-hmm. It's very hard on Luke's side, though, to think about how you're going to get in 45 points of damage when you've already lost your Battle Skull, you've lost your Sword of Fire and Ice.
And your opponent has a Caracas.
Yeah.
So this is force you to tap your Caracas, replay.
So this kind of board state might be why Luke, I think he added Elspeth 6 after this tournament.
Yeah. The Elspeth Suns champion is amazing. Being able to answer a whole variety of different things. So here's some more elementals from the fetch land cracks, because now Beckett can actually, pay life to sacrifice his fetch lands.
And surely there's just, that insurmountable army there attacking him for the win.
Wow, that was huge. So Beckett eventually got there, and that ended up being 1-1. And I believe, is that time in the round?
No, I think they started a new game.
Oh, okay. So we've got a third game. This is going to be a rushed one to the end, because we are at about something like 40-ish minutes in the round.
About 10
something
minutes.
on those lines.
Does that favour Luke? Because is he faster, or are they similar? Okay.
Yes, for sure. So Luke's on the play, has a Mox Pearl in his deck, and has the marginally faster deck.
So Green Sun Zenith just came back in for Beckett there.
So Green Sun Zenith is out. Are you sure?
Well, he just flashed
No, it must have just been somewhere in the shuffle.
Okay,
so he wouldn't cycle that out.
My mistake. Yeah. But they're just having a quick look to see if they want to make any adjustments for the final game.
Like, it's possible that Luke tries to get faster when he's on the play in game 3. Just go, okay, I want to finish this, get rid of your opponent. And,
But does he have ways of getting faster in the sideboard?
No, I just mean like the way he sideboarded before was to be
the big
grindy
angels.
and big.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But he might just continue to have the same plan, because, look, it worked. It just ended up that Batterskull gained a whole lot of life on both sides, but a whole lot more on Beckett's side.
Yeah, because game 1 he curved into the 5-drop and it was excellent.
And you're looking at these creatures and looking at Beckett's life total at 50 plus and going, Luke's board is nothing. But in reality, his board is
huge.
like a 4/4, a 3/3, a 5/5, and they're all flying. Like, it's a serious board. It's all about the Batterskull in that last game.
And just being that turn ahead, or just being slightly bigger, being able to chip in for the 4 damage return. So let's see what happens here.
So resetting that life total back down.
Back down to a
sensible.
We'll be back with you in a moment.
Sensible 20.
Right.
I would just, if I was in Luke's position and I saw Mox Pearl in this opening 7, I would be so happy.
What has he got? Got a play.
There's no Pearl, unfortunately.
Okay. He's just keeping.
Yep.
Got
But
a 1-drop.
it's a 1-drop, so that's huge. Land tax! On the play! I feel so bad.
There's an elf and a Orzhov Pontiff of Beckett.
Yeah. So, as an old school player and loving land tax, how often do you skip your land drop in order to draw 3 lands? It's hard, right?
Yeah.
In Highlander, it's more punishing, but in like old school and those kind of formats,
I think here it's
less
hard.
punishing.
I think here it's hard for Luke because he wants to be kind of curving out and beating down.
Agreed. When your opponent has played a Mana Dork on turn 1.
Yeah. I mean, he's not playing a control deck.
No.
where he wants, and he can't brainstorm back the excess lands or scroll rack or anything like that. So,
this is nice in the upkeep, pathing the creature, so the land that you get is obviously tapped.
it helps with land tax. Yeah.
And it gives a land to your opponent, forcing them to play their third land to actually do anything, and then draw.
Because otherwise, pathing the mana elf is generally does nothing.
No, but in this situation, it's good.
Yeah,
it was
great.
a sweet play.
So now Beckett has to make the decision: do I play my land and give him land tax value,
Yeah, like if you
not?
if
Or
you
just ship
didn't
the
have
turn?
a 2-drop in your hand because it's tapped, then maybe you don't play a land.
That's
Yeah,
good.
this is a
He's
minor door.
played
Maybe you just don't play a land.
No, he's played a land sort of.
Yeah, and then now you just go like, oh, pass to you. How much do you want your land tax trigger?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what's in Beckett's
Oh,
hand.
yeah.
If
If
Beckett
you're
had
like
Batterskull,
Titania in
he
hand
played
or
a land.
Cedar Rhino. I'm sure he was agonising over this decision.
If he's got a bunch of 3-drops and he's happy to ship the turn back. Yeah.
Yeah, like if your hand is 3-drops, I think you don't play a land. He's really tanking on it.
Because
Like if your hand is 5-drops, like a Titania, you go pass. You play land.
With 25 mana sources, Luke, he's not going to be mana screwed. He's going to have mana, so he doesn't need the land tax.
I like how Luke's play there, whilst looking like it was a simple, okay, just path your creature play, was really complicated because it caused a headache for Beckett.
Well, Luke could have elected not to play a land then, but he would have been behind on board then.
Yeah. Here comes a jitter, and obviously Beckett wants to, play that third land so that he can equip it because now it's okay.
Okay, he's done it. Well, now he can play it, yeah.
But essentially what Luke did was kind of have a pseudo time walk effect.
Oh, and he got a bit unlucky there. He didn't get Beckett with the fetch land with the Aven Mind Sensor.
That would have been so good, even though it's a non-bow with the land tax.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be... I'd be happy to get rid of someone's land for sure. So now the creatures get deployed.
And it's a little tricky here because Jit's very powerful against both those creatures.
Yeah, the moment that this dork, trades or connects...
Well, he can deny the counters here by sacking it.
Yep. So this is you don't get any counters, but essentially I lose one dude rather than you hitting me and I lose both of my dudes.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do when there's a GT on the field.
I wonder if Luke plays any disenchant effects. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can go.
How does he deal with the opposing equipment? Because the opposing Batterskull did a lot of work and didn't seem to have an answer to it.
Yeah, when you're
there's an aura of silence in the sideboard, but I'm not sure if you bring it in here. Potentially.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it when he
Heard his
did
own
the boarding
equipment.
before, but yeah, it's rough when you don't have a Kazali Pride Mage, as this kind of main deckable or Knight of Autumn, where you're like, oh, I've got a main deckable Artifact Enchantment Destruction.
Mono
And you
white
have to
doesn't have that.
Yeah, you have to spend.
It might have the
slots
relic.
on it.
Well, it's got that 2/2 white guy.
Leonin Relic Water?
Yeah, relic water. That's a potential card. I don't know if Luke plays it, but Beckett's running away with equipment here.
So
Maybe the plan is just denying creatures. Let his equipment do nothing.
well, yeah, look, Beckett's on. He's actually finally got his 4 land out. So Luke's like, yep, here we go. Well, my deck is now better. It's just I've got the lander in my hand.
Well, he
so
can
my
just,
deck is strictly of better quality.
and he could
Less
just keep
land.
doing that every turn, but he wants to curve out, so he won't.
Yeah, if he's got a 4-drop, for example. So Beckett here has no creatures to equip to, and there's a Gideon Ally of Zendikar.
That is sweet.
This is, if there ever was a way to finish a mid-range matchup, this card is it. It's so good.
Gideon 3 would be good here as well, because it would stop the Jit from getting counters by shutting down the creature that's equipped to.
Oh, yeah.
But no, Gideon 4 is excellent as well. Smashes in, creates dudes.
Yeah, Jitter's going to have it's going to have an uphill battle when you're behind on creatures and your opponent has a Planeswalker.
That's nice, getting rid of the Aven Mind Sensor for free there.
Yep. So basically, the Orzhov Pontiff playing its best Chupacabra impersonation as it comes out and kills the creature.
And interestingly, he's elected to equip it to the Jit and get counters on the defense.
Yeah.
Rather than the clamp just to draw cards.
Yep, I can see
So
that.
is that another land tax trigger as well? Yep.
So, yep, we're going to get more lands. So Beckett is on 5 land, and from the rest of the game, Luke's basically going to be able to just fetch all the lands out of his deck, discard them, make sure there's a whole bunch of Uluru on the battlefield.
That's when you want scroll rack or something, but it's a bit cute. It's a bit
A
cute.
bit fringy.
Yeah.
So here we come. Our 1/1 Orzhov Pontiff charging in, just go like, I don't want to lose to not like this. Kill your guy.
Can you only haunt your own dudes?
You can haunt any creature.
Okay, so you should have haunted.
Yeah, I believe it can haunt any creature, not like non-token creature.
Oh, a non-token. Okay.
No, not non-token. I don't think.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, did the Oars of Pontiff trigger then when it left the battlefield?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got rid of the tokens, and now he's got a creature. I would have gone for a 4/3 there.
Yeah. So Oars of Pontiff doesn't trigger when it leaves the battlefield.
Okay. Oh, another end of turn angel coming in, so he's got a lot of power on board.
Yeah. So this is where Luke is the beatdown.
But Beckett was able to deploy 2 creatures that turn, so he's likely going to have a Jit carrier.
So this is going to be interesting to see at what point Gideon flips from make a creature every turn to crash in to the red zone.
Yeah, Luke's got his own Jit here with Steel Shakes Gift, and he can smash in with the flyer straight away.
Yeah. Jitter triggering here is huge.
And he's winning the Jitte war because he's got counters first.
Yep. Here it is, turning the corner. Gideon is now attacking as a creature.
Indestructible creature.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe he is a swole bro, is he? Not? I mean,
5/5.
Gideon in general is a swole bro, just generally. He's massive. But,
Well, look, Beckett's on 5.
yeah. I mean, it's basically lethal from any of the creatures unless there's a source of touches.
Yeah, that's nice.
So we're probably getting very close to time now. So it'd be interesting to see when the turns counter comes onto the battlefield. But I definitely have Edge Luke here.
Has that creature got vigilance? That is sweet if it does.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you ever see Planeswalkers tapped very often?
No, not often. No. Generally, when Gideon's getting counter-attacked.
Gideons are the ones that tap.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a Seal of Primordium, which is really good at obviously destroying Jitter.
Yeah, that's a great draw from Beckett. I mean, that's the kind of thing Luke could have as well in Seal of Cleansing, but
yeah. So the Ramanat Excavator getting loyalty counters off Gideon is definitely relevant. Gideon also, just as a note, obviously this probably won't come up, but Gideon, whilst indestructible, obviously dies when it's a 0/0 because Jitters are good at doing that.
And he's not great on it. Well, he could have defended with a 2/2 and equipped it, but I suppose he would have just died to the Jitte counters.
Well, the Jitte pumps Gideon, makes him really, really big. So Gideon is now threatening lethal here, but obviously Beckett has something. Aha! There's that blocker. Here it is. And really heads up play there, destroying the Jitte before obviously fetching the Dried Arbor, which would die to the Jitte counter. But Batterskull here, and we saw how much work Batterskull did last game.
Yeah. Okay, he's definitely a much needed blocker to protect the Gideon as well. If he wants to, we might prefer.
Now note that Ramanap can return a 1/1 blocker every turn, which is hugely relevant here.
Again, Assassin's Trophy, doing a kind of game breaking kind of play. That's just an amazing card, I think. So flexible, always good.
So this is a very, very large Ramanap Excavator, large enough to kill a Gideon. So before we said Edge Luke, but now Luke's in top deck mode. And remember, some of the cards in hand are lands, but it's Moat. Moat, ready to basically grind this matchup into a potential time. So Skull Clamp eating up the Dried Arbor. Note that there is a combo here between Ramanap Excavator and Skull Clamp and Dried Arbor in the bin, wherein you would basically say every turn, 1 mana, draw 2 cards.
Yeah, that's good.
Seems nice.
Although he's used a fair few of his answers to Moat already in dealing with the creatures and equipment.
Yeah, if the Assassin's Trophy is gone, and Night of Autumn is gone, and Rexage... I haven't seen Rexage.
I think Rexage is still around this game.
So it's possible that it's on a... And Kazali Pride Mage. So it might be like a 2-outer in the whole deck. But when you've got a Skull Clamp, it's quite easy to find
Luke could just buy a few turns with Moat, find an angel, and then attack for the win.
Yeah. Do you just clamp your Stoneforge and minus it with Jitter just to draw 2 more cards? Because you're all in on, just getting rid of that Moat.
Yeah, does Beckett have any flyers? He's got
It's
lingering
basically
souls.
Lingering Souls and the Angel, the Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
Those are your nice flying ways to seal up the game. But, there's definitely merit
Well,
to...
you've got to think about the clock as well if you're Beckett, to try and dig for that answer.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's turn 1. So turn 1 of turns. Beckett's on 4. It's going to be really, really hard for him to... I think at the end of turn there is...
I think Luke's only on lands too. Yeah.
Yeah. There is definitely merit to minusing the jitter to kill your Stoneforge and draw 2 more cards because you're...
Pod.
Oh, no, actually, Pod. Pod here does it. I mean, if you got Pod, no problem.
So
you just
you-
pod your guy into Reclamation Sage if it's in the deck.
Or you could pot away the 1-drop to get the Kosali Pride Mage.
Yes, yep. Either, right?
Although he's gone down to 2. You better hope that Luke doesn't have another flashy angel. And he's really dead either way.
That'd definitely seal the deal for sure.
So there it is. Does he have the mana to use it right now?
So it was a sacrifice of the 1-drop because there is no Reclamation Sage in
No, it's the Knight of
list.
Autumn's replaced
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So he's been able to equip to Skullclamp before sacking it to kill the moat to gain cards as well.
Yep.
And then coming for a lot of damage. There's always a question: when to use your counters? How much do you pump here?
yeah, you just probably pump all of it.
It's turn 2, so
I mean, there is a way to lose, and the way to lose is that there's a Flash Angel, but you minusing an angel to kind of time walk.
well, he might want to keep
turn.
keep some life gain up his sleeve in case he
That too.
end of
yeah.
turn. But yeah, you either play to draw or you play to win. You need to
just want to
decide.
play to win. Yeah. So
The Chef Named June. What's that? The white
yeah,
desert.
so
what does that do? Does that do?
it's a land
gives
that
plus
puts
one,
plus one counter on something.
Just pumps your team for a turn. Yeah. Okay.
So this is pretty big. So you're basically not going to lose to the Flash Angel. So it's all about sending all of those counters on that thing, but not being enough to actually win the game. So this is turn 4 of turns, right?
Yeah.
So Beckett kind of identified, well, I can't win,
So I need to not lose.
so I need to not lose. So that's why he hasn't spent all the jitter counters.
Yeah.
But obviously with actual turns, it would be interesting to see where it actually goes.
There you go.
So
showing it.
It's all lands there, and it's all action on the other side. Yeah, so that was unfortunately went to time and ends up being a 1-1. But both players played well. It was really, really exciting to watch this matchup.
But I didn't think the land tax did anything there.
Well, the land tax technically made sure that the deck was less bad.
Okay,
It had
thin-
less
thin
lands,
deck, yeah.
but he didn't end up drawing anything else but lands and draw steps as well.
Yeah.
So there's that. Awesome.
But for me, that was a lesson in Assassin's Trophy being such a versatile and critical answer. And the colours kind of buy you that kind of power.
For sure.
Yeah. But no, sweet decks all around and some great play.
Excellent. Well, great. We will see you all in round 2, and in round 2 onwards, we will have our very own Beckett Wolfe jumping into the booth with Luke McGlaughlin in the booth as well. So it's going to be great to see insights from them.
See ya.